Every empire in history was built on something. Rome built on conquest, Britain built on trade routes, the United States built something different, something invisible, something more powerful than armies. They built the world's monetary operating system, and for 50 years, every nation on earth ran on it. Nixon closes the gold window, dollar untethered from gold. The Bretton Woods system, finished. The dollar should have collapsed. It did not, because Henry Kissinger had a different plan. Secretary of State Kissinger and Saudi Crown Prince Fahd, a secret agreement not published for 40 years. Bloomberg obtained it through a Freedom of Information Act request in 2016. Saudi Arabia, price all oil in U.S. dollars, reinvest surplus petrodollars into U.S. treasuries, U.S. military protection, weapons, kingdom security guaranteed. Every barrel of oil sold anywhere required dollars. Every nation needed dollars to buy energy. Demand for dollars became structural, global, permanent. By 1975, every OPEC member priced oil in dollars. The result, the ability to print the currency the entire world needed and exchange it for real goods, real oil, and real geopolitical power. France called it an outrage. Economists called it exorbitant privilege. The rest of the world had no choice but to use it, until a series of events, like starting in 2022, changed the calculation for every nation watching. When Russia invaded Ukraine, Washington made a calculation: freeze the assets, cut the access, end the war quickly. The calculation was wrong. Because every central bank on earth was watching, and they all asked the same question. If Washington can do that to Russia, what stops them from doing it to us? The answer was nothing. Gold reserves accumulated by central banks since 2022, record pace every year. Over 1,200 tons added in 2024 alone. Not sentiment, insulation. They were building a financial system that Washington could not switch off. Yuan moving into Russia, rupees for Russian oil, dirhams into UAE settlements, dollar flows shrinking. China and Russia shifted bilateral trade to yuan and rubles. Brazil and China signed yuan real settlement 2023. India began purchasing Russian oil in rupees April 3, 2023. The yuan replaced the dollar as the most traded currency in Russia. Saudi Arabia, the petrodollar commitment, not renewed. June 2024, 50 years, ended without a press conference. The exclusive commitment, quietly allowed to lapse. BRICS 2026, 11 nations, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina now inside. Combined GDP, over 35% of global output. The crack in the dollar tower widens, and two new conflicts are about to make it worse. February 28, 2026. February 28, 2026. The United States and Israel begin military operations against Iran, and Iran does what it threatened to do for decades. Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil supply, 21 million barrels per day, $530 billion per year. Iran declares it closed. March 4th, 2026. Qatar Energy declared force majeure, the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. Brent crude, February 27th, $71.32 barrel. Brent crude, week of March 7th, $92.69 barrel. Biggest weekly gain for oil since futures began in 1983. China, India, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. 75% of straight exports went to Asia. Singapore and Taiwan depend on Qatari LNG. Pakistan and Bangladesh, price sensitive, no alternatives. Here is what makes this moment different from every previous Gulf conflict. Here is what makes this moment different from every previous Gulf conflict. Iran is not just blocking oil, it is charging for passage in yuan. Iran, charging yuan-denominated transit tolls for tankers passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Not a proposal, not a threat, an active policy. March 2026. Right now. And China? Chinese vessels are allowed through. Everyone else, wait. The petrodollar's entire architecture rests on oil being priced in dollars. Iran just put a yuan toll on the pipe. 80% of global oil transactions settled in dollars. JP Morgan 2023 estimate. That percentage is declining in real time. Another oil conflict, another dollar defense, another war. We will keep the oil. Venezuela holds the world's largest proven oil reserves. Venezuela proven oil reserves, 303 billion barrels, 17% of global total, more than Saudi Arabia's 267 billion barrels. For 2 decades, Venezuela built a financial architecture with Beijing instead of Washington. In 2007, China injected $60 billion into Venezuela, paid back in physical barrels of crude, not dollars. Starting in 2007, the loans for oil model. China funded infrastructure. Venezuela repaid in barrels, not dollars. China invested over $60 billion into Venezuela. Repayment, physical oil, bypassing the dollar entirely. Venezuela exports now 0.8 million barrels a day. Destination primarily China. U.S. Coast Guard vessels pursued and intercepted tankers suspected of carrying Venezuelan crude. On December 10, 2025, the U.S. seized the MT Skipper. On December 20th, U.S. forces seized the Sentries, not on official sanctions lists, suspected of carrying Venezuelan crude. Outside a busy shipping port, cranes and tankers behind. Let me be clear about what this actually says. This is not about narcotics, not about democracy. Trade oil in anything but the dollar, and you are no longer treated as a sovereign state. Reagan did it, Clinton did it, Bush did it, Obama did it. Trump is taking it further, not just what currency you trade in, but who you trade with. The Venezuela operation was the debut of what analysts are calling the Trump corollary, both connected by one thread, dollar defense. Iran oil revenue 2025, $50+ billion, 35% of Iran's budget. Venezuela oil, China's primary source of discounted crude. China's strategic petroleum reserve, 1.2 billion barrels, 109 days of import cover, built from sanctioned oil. China bought sanctioned oil from Iran, Russia, and Venezuela at below market prices, building the world's largest strategic petroleum reserve from those barrels. The dollar's next potential flashpoint is already waiting. Taiwan produces 60% of the world's semiconductors, 90% of the most advanced chips, all from one island. Taiwan semiconductor market share, 60% global total advanced chip production, sub-7 mm, 90% from Taiwan global economy. Dependency, every major industry. This is not just a military flashpoint, it is a financial one, because whoever controls Taiwan's chip supply controls the infrastructure of the next economy. The Iran war plays out, U.S. military stretched across the Persian Gulf. Taiwan fades down the priority list. China watching, calculating. The Columbia Energy Policy Center noted it directly. Beijing can again leverage its critical minerals dominance over an increasingly busy U.S. military as Taiwan slides further down the White House list of priorities. China, crude oil imports, 2025. Record 11.6 million BPD, China, Middle East oil. Dependency, hold 50% of imports. China, strategic reserve, 2026, 109 days of cover. Satya. China imports half its oil through the same strait Iran controls. They are not blocking it. Iran is allowing Chinese vessels through. That is not coincidence. That is coordination. But CSIS asks, is the settlement in dollars or not? May 2025. The United States signed the Strategic Artificial Intelligence Partnership with Saudi Arabia. Advanced semiconductors approved for sale to Saudi Humane and UAE G42. CSIS analysis, February 2026. These agreements miss an essential ingredient, a guarantee that AI-enabled exports will be invoiced and settled in dollars. America gave the Gulf states the compute power to export AI-enabled goods globally without requiring dollar settlement. If those AI exports are invoiced in yuan or dirhams, the U.S. just funded its own dollar displacement. Critical minerals for AI infrastructure. China controls 60% of rare earth processing globally. The leverage is not military, it is geological. The semiconductor chip and the yuan chip face each other across the Taiwan Strait. What happens next changes the entire board. The next reserve currency war will not be fought with armies. It will be fought with algorithms. Tech giants capital expenditure 2025, $268 billion. Projected 2026, up to $700 billion. JP Morgan Tech spend 2026, $20 billion, largely AI. Microsoft restarted 3 Mile Island for AI compute power. Amazon committed to 5 gigawatts of nuclear for AI data centers. Google contracted 500 megawatts of nuclear for AI infrastructure. As computation becomes the dominant driver of economic activity, the cost structure of intelligence converges on the cost of electricity. Energy is becoming currency. Compute is becoming power. Whoever controls the cheapest, most reliable energy controls the AI infrastructure that runs the next economy. China's digital yuan processed $2.3 trillion in transactions by December 2025. 3.4 billion transactions. The mBridge CBDC platform, $55.5 billion processed. 2,500 times the 2022 pilot volume. 13 cross-border wholesale CBDC projects now active globally. Stablecoin market cap 2026 exceeds $250 billion 2025. Genius Act, U.S. regulatory framework established. Stablecoins moving from crypto to cross-border payment infrastructure in emerging markets. The United States is fighting back with stablecoins, dollar-denominated digital assets moving through crypto rails, not SWIFT, not correspondent banking, just code. Here's the AI currency war in plain language. The U.S. wants AI compute powered by American chips, billed and settled in dollar-denominated stablecoins. China wants AI compute powered by its own chip ecosystem, settled through mBridge in yuan-denominated CBDCs. The Gulf states want access to both, and the leverage that comes from being in the middle. Whoever builds the AI financial rails that the world adopts wins the next 50 years of monetary history. U.S. Treasury FSOC AI Innovation Series launched. DEC 2025 goal: scale AI in financial institutions while preserving safety and soundness. Translation: Washington knows the battlefield has changed. The question is whether they are moving fast enough. U.S. national debt, $39 trillion. $39 trillion and rising. The odometer rolls toward 39 trillion. That number crossed on March 18, 2026. At the worst possible geopolitical moment, every major credit rating agency has now downgraded U.S. sovereign debt. All three. For the first time in history, the petrodollar system created a perpetual buyer for U.S. Treasury bonds. Oil nations accumulated dollar surpluses, reinvested them in treasuries, kept U.S. interest rates artificially low for decades. As that recycling weakens, borrowing costs rise. U.S. debt interest cost projected to exceed defense spending within the decade fastest growing line item in the federal budget. 3 scenarios, none comfortable. 1. Inflated away. Print money. Devalue the debt through inflation. The debt shrinks in real terms. Your savings shrink with it. 2. Default or restructure. Politically unthinkable. Economically catastrophic. The reserve currency cannot default, not without destroying the system it anchors. 3. Grow out of it. Massive AI-driven productivity gains. The only scenario without significant pain. Also the least certain. History. The average lifespan of a fiat currency, 27 years. The US dollar as primary reserve currency, 55 years. Remarkable by historical standards. The question is whether 2026 marks the beginning of the end or just another stress test the dollar weathers. The BRICS towers are no longer rising. They are already here, and they are building something new. Let us be precise about what is actually happening. The dollar is not dying tomorrow. US dollar global reserve share, Y 58%, 2026 down from 71% in 2001, yuan 2.1%, euro 20%. No single currency is ready to replace the dollar. The yuan is illiquid outside China. Capital controls remain. The euro has structural debt problems. Bitcoin is too volatile. Gold cannot scale to the transaction volume required. What is emerging is not a replacement, it is fragmentation. Multiple regional blocks, multiple settlement systems, EM Bridge for Asia Middle East, SIPS for China Corridor, Digital Euro for EU, SWIFT still dominant in the West but shrinking as percentage of global commerce. The British pound lost reserve status over 40 years, not in a crisis, through accumulated alternatives. The dollar took its place not through force, through utility. What replaces dollar dominance will win the same way, not through ideology, through better infrastructure. World Gold Council 2025, world 200 plus tons gold added to central bank reserves since start of 2024. Gold price target 2026, $4,200 Oz. Al-Mundi Research Gold Target, 2028, $5,000 Oz. Gold is the one asset that belongs to no nation, cannot be frozen, cannot be sanctioned, cannot be printed. Every central bank building reserves in gold is making the same quiet bet. We need something Washington cannot touch. The fiat system that built the dollar's throne was always built on trust, and trust has a half-life. Every currency in the world today is fiat. Every currency in the world today is fiat. Fiat, from the Latin meaning, let it be done. A declaration, a promise, nothing more. US dollar purchasing power since 1971 lost approximately 87% of real value $1. In 1971, each was born 13 in real purchasing power today. 4 structural problems with fiat as currently designed. 1. No hard limit on supply. Governments print in response to every crisis. Each print dilutes every holder's savings. Inflation is a hidden tax. It never appears on a ballot. 2. Debt becomes politically rational. Why tax voters when you can borrow and inflate, spending today, billing it to tomorrow? 3. Reserve currency holders export their instability. When the Fed raises rates, developing nations get crushed. Dollar-denominated debts balloon in local currency terms. 4. Weaponization risk. Russia learned in 2022. Venezuela learned in 2026. The reserve currency is also a weapon, and every nation now knows it. Four credible improvements, none perfect. Improvement 1. Commodity basket anchoring. Currency partially backed by gold, oil, rare earths, agricultural commodities. Forces fiscal discipline. BRICS proposed are 5 currency uses this framework. Improvement 2. Rules-based issuance. Constitutional or treaty-level limits on money supply growth tied to productivity metrics, not political need. Switzerland runs closest to this today. Its franc has outperformed every major fiat currency over 30 years. Improvement 3. Transparent CBDC with privacy by design. Digital currency, fully auditable. Transaction efficient, no bank runs. Fast cross-border settlement, but only if privacy is built in from the start. A CBDC without privacy guarantees is a financial surveillance state. The risk is real. The design choice is everything. Improvement 4. Gold as neutral settlement anchor, not a return to the gold standard. Gold as the settlement asset between central banks. Domestic currencies float. Nations settle trade imbalances in gold. This is the Bretton Woods model, which produced the most stable global growth period in recorded history, 1944 to 1971. Average fiat currency. Lifespan, 27 years. No fiat system has survived indefinitely. What comes next will be decided by what works and what the world is willing to trust. The question is not what governments will do. The question is what you do before the transition arrives at your front door. Everything in this documentary has been global. Geopolitics, trillions, empires, wars, AI, central banks. Now let us make it personal, because none of it matters unless you know what to do. You are not a central bank. You cannot hoard gold by the ton. You cannot sanction anyone. You cannot launch a CBDC. But you can position your personal finances for a world where the dollar's purchasing power continues declining, slowly and persistently, regardless of what replaces it. Position 1. Own real assets. Reduce paper promises. Real assets hold value through currency transitions. A house you own. A business generating cash flow. Productive land. Physical gold as a percentage of savings. None of these require you to predict which currency wins. They hold value regardless. Position 2. Eliminate high-interest dollar-denominated debt. High-interest consumer debt in a declining purchasing power environment is simply a faster drain. Pay off variable rate and high-interest debt. Lock fixed rates where real assets secure the loan. Position 3. Hold some gold, not all gold. Central banks are buying gold at record rates, not sentiment. Strategy. Gold has no counterparty risk. No government can freeze it if you hold it physically. A 5 to 15% allocation is what institutional managers and sovereign wealth funds are currently targeting. Position 4. Diversify across currencies and jurisdictions. Dollar-only savings lose purchasing power with the dollar. High-yield savings in dollars still make sense short-term. Long-term wealth preservation looks across borders, international index funds, foreign real estate, multi-currency exposure. This is what wealthy Americans have always done. Now you have the same access. Position 5. Build income streams that transcend currency. Someone earning in multiple ways, employment, freelancing, small business, passive income, is more insulated than someone dependent on one employer, one currency, one system. The wealthy have always understood this. Position 6. Stay informed. Stay non-partisan. The dollar maximalists say nothing is changing. The dollar doomsayers say collapse is imminent. The reality, as always, is more complex and more gradual. Non-partisan analysis of actual data is your most valuable financial tool. That is what this channel exists to provide. The petrodollar system Kissinger and Fawad built in a desert palace in 1974 is not ending with a bang. It is ending with 1,000 quiet transactions, a yuan settlement here, a gold purchase there, a CBDC bridge bypassing a network, a tanker paying yuan tolls through a contested strait, a treaty not renewed, an AI export not invoiced in dollars. Empires do not fall in a day, but they do fall And the people who position early, not in panic, not in ideology, but in clear-eyed understanding of what is actually happening, they navigate what comes next. You just spent 90 minutes understanding what most people will spend their entire lives ignoring. Use it. The Hibernating Bear, non-partisan perspective, no agenda but yours. Subscribe. Drop in the comments. What surprised you most? What is the one move you are making this week? This community answers back. Position accordingly. What surprised you most in this documentary? Drop your one move for the post-dollar era below. 6 position playbook. 1. Own real assets, real estate, gold, cash flowing business. 2. Eliminate high interest and variable rate debt now. 3. Hold 15% physical gold, no counterparty risk. 4. Diversify across currencies and jurisdictions. 5. Build multiple income streams, transcend any single currency. 6. Stay informed and nonpartisan. Data over ideology. Subscribe for the weekly brief. I read every comment. The Hibernating Bear. Position accordingly.